Hello, everyone. My name is Rusul Al-Ani. I would like to start by thanking the conference organizers for giving us the opportunity to present our work. Not only that this is my first authorship, but it is also my first oral presentation. I will be presenting our study, Sleep Quality Among Women Living with HIV by Reproductive Stage in the United States-based HOPE study. Sleep quality is linked to both physical and mental health and well-being. In particular, sleep quality is a risk factor for chronic conditions like cardiovascular disease, diabetes, depression, and anxiety. Among women, sleep varies across the reproductive stage from nulliparous, pregnant, postpartum, and porous, but more than 1 year after giving birth. Notably, women living with HIV face higher risks for cardiovascular disease as well as mental health issues compared to men, with 1 in 5 people with HIV in the US being women. The HOPE study is enrolling women living with HIV between the ages of 18 to 45 in the United States. Enrollment began in April of 2022 and is still ongoing, and this analysis includes data from women with a HOPE study entry visit through the 1st of April of the year 2025. The entry visit includes the collection of sociodemographics information like race, marital status, also the brief Pittsburgh Sleep Quality Index, or BPSQI for short, reproductive stage, mental health standardized instruments like the PHQ-9, GAT-7, and PTSD scores, and also substance use and everyday discrimination scales and self-perceived stress scale. And here we can see the 14 sites where the HOPE study is being conducted across the US. The Brief Sleep Quality Index, or the BPSQI for short, is a validated tool for assessing sleep quality in the past month. It consists of 6 questions with a possible score between 0 and 3 for each question, and the sum of these scores of more than 5 would qualify as having poor sleep quality. And also, we can also see here the 6th domain of sleep that includes sleep duration, sleep latency, which is the time taken to fall asleep, sleep efficiency, which is the ratio of time spent asleep to time spent in bed, as well as sleep disruptions and self-rated sleep quality. As for the study aims for this study, the first is to compare the prevalence of self-reported poor sleep quality between women living with HIV by reproductive stage, with a reproductive stage defined as nulliparous, pregnant, within 1 year postpartum, or having given birth previously but more than 1 year postpartum. The second is to identify predictors of sleep quality by reproductive stage, considering individual, interpersonal, and community factors, and also to descriptively compare predictors across reproductive stages. Our sleep quality study has a cross-sectional study design, and our outcome of interest is poor sleep quality, and we use the brief BSQI to determine that. Our exposure of interest were participants' self-reported reproductive stage at HOPE entry for AIM-1 and individual, interpersonal, and community factors for AIM-2. And of those predictive factors that we talked about in AIM-2, they include individuals such as age, race, HIV viral load, and screening positive for depression, anxiety, and PTSD. And interpersonal factors, we included factors such as number of children under 18 being parented. As for the community factors, as we can see here, we included factors such as perception of neighborhood violence, neighborhood green spaces, and neighborhood environmental noise. As for our statistical analysis, unadjusted and adjusted log binomial models with generalized estimating equations were fit to estimate prevalence ratios and the 95% confidence intervals. Compared nulliparous, pregnant, and postpartum participants to parous participants. And we used our Paris participants group, have been chosen as the reference group because they represent the largest number of the HOPE participants. As for the second aim, univariable log binomial models with generalized estimating equations were fit to estimate prevalence ratios and the 95% confidence interval for predictors of poor sleep quality. Models were fit overall as well as stratified by reproductive stage. Here we have our study population. We had a total of 689 participants who completed the entry survey. The nulliparous group were younger than other age group, with the majority being 25 years of age and younger. And also, additionally, nearly 3/4 of nulliparous group acquired HIV during infancy, compared to less than quarter in other age groups. Across all groups, the majority identified as Black. And here in this busy slide, there are more characteristics, and we were surprised to see that nearly a third of women were working overnight or shift work and sleeping during the day. The highest proportions of persons concerned about housing stability were pregnant women. And close to a third of all women were living in communities with high noise and low green spaces, as we can see here. Not surprisingly, the group with the highest achievement of viral suppression were the pregnant women group. In terms of sleep quality, 63% of individuals answered all sleep measures on the BPSQI. Another 64% answered some of the questions, but enough to derive sleep quality score. And the remaining individuals, a little over 27%, either didn't answer enough questions or didn't answer any questions. Let's look at how we handled those partial responders. Here are 4 examples of our partial responders. So for the first person, we can see that they answered 4 out of the 5 questions of sleep quality. So, and for those 4 questions that they answered, they got a score of 9, which qualifies as poor sleep quality. So it doesn't matter what they answer for sleep efficiency because we already crossed the limit for identifying poor sleep quality. For the second participant, they only answered 2 domains, but again, their score is 6, which also qualifies as poor sleep quality. For the third participant, despite answering 4 domains out of the 5 domains for sleep quality, the score was 2. So even if they're missing, sleep efficiency score is 3, their total will be 5, which does not qualify as poor sleep quality. As for our fourth example, the 4 domains summed to 4. If they're missing sleep efficiency scores either 0 or 1, then they do not have poor sleep quality. But if their missing sleep efficiency score is 2 or 3, in this case, they would have poor sleep quality. Therefore, we cannot use their data. Of the 693 people, we were able to calculate the PPSQI for 500 participants. Overall, the prevalence of poor sleep quality was 51.2%, highest among postpartum and PARIS women. Our study, poor sleep quality prevalence, is comparable to other women's cohort where women were not living with HIV. However, since HIV is a chronic disease, poor sleep quality has the potential to impact HIV care engagement and to increase risk of other health conditions such as cardiovascular disease, for which women living with HIV are already at increased risk for earlier onset of cardiovascular disease compared to women similar age without HIV. We can also see here the other domains of sleep overall and also by reproductive stage. Here, we present the prevalence ratios comparing poor sleep quality by reproductive stage to PARIS women. We can see here that there was no significant difference in unadjusted and adjusted analysis. For all reproductive groups, screening positive for mild to moderate depression was associated with poor sleep quality in the last month. Report of housing instability versus stable housing was a predictor of poor sleep quality only among pregnant women, but not among the other groups. Experiencing household food insecurity was associated with poor sleep quality among pregnant and porous persons. Characteristics, as for the limitation for our study, characteristics, life experiences, and social circumstances of women actively engaged in a research study in the United States may not reflect the general population of women living with HIV, with the potential of limited generalizability of the study findings. Also, 27% of participants did not have sufficient completion of the PPSQI to derive the sleep quality outcomes. Imputations was used and did not appreciably change the study findings. As for conclusions, so overall, over half of all HOPE study participants experienced poor sleep quality in the last month, while screening positive for depression was a common predictor of poor sleep quality in all four groups. Some predictors were specific to a reproductive group. Since sleep quality can affect HIV disease progression and overall physical and mental health, interventions are needed to improve sleep quality among women with reproductive potential living with HIV. And at the end, I would like to thank the HOPE study participants for great input into this study, as well as all HOPE study sites, our great biostatisticians, Paige Williams and Jessica Lee, and my mentor, Kate Powis. We would also like to thank the National Institute of Child Health and Human Development for their funding to this study. Thank you all.